Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little, is one of the most influential and controversial figures in American history, from his early years in segregated America to his transformation into a passionate advocate for Black empowerment. Malcolm X's journey was one of radical changes, intellectual growth, and unflinching courage. As a leader, he became the face of a new era in the fight for civil rights and equality. His outspoken criticism of racism and advocacy for Black pride and his internationalist views all contributed to his enduring legacy. This script explores Malcolm X's life, his evolution, his contributions to the civil rights movement, and the lasting impact he left on the world. Early life. A foundation of struggle. Malcolm X was born on May 19, 1925, in Omaha, Nebraska, to Earl and Louise Little. His birth name was Malcolm Little, and he was the fourth of 8 children in his family. His father, Earl Little, was an outspoken Baptist preacher, a staunch supporter of Marcus Garvey, the famous Pan-Africanist. Earl's activism, particularly his advocacy for Black pride and self-determination, would have profound influence on Malcolm's later views. Unfortunately, the Little family faced intense racial hatred. When Malcolm was just a child, his father was brutally murdered in 1931 under mysterious circumstances. The police dismissed the case, and Malcolm's mother, Louise, was left to raise the children on her own. Shortly after Earl's death, the family faced constant harassment from white supremacists, which led to them moving to Lansing, Michigan. In Lansing, Malcolm's mother began to struggle financially. She suffered mental breakdown, and Malcolm and his siblings were eventually placed in foster homes or sent to orphanages. Malcolm, who was always a curious and intelligent child, found it difficult to adjust to the oppressive conditions of the foster care system. Throughout these formative years, he became aware of the deep racial divisions in American society. Life in the streets. The transformation begins. Malcolm's teenage years were marked by crime and trouble with the law. After living in various foster homes, he moved to Boston, where he became involved in petty crime. He worked as shoe shiner, waiter, and in other menial jobs, but he soon fell into a life of hustling, drug dealing, and burglary. He became well known in Harlem as street smart hustler and was eventually arrested for burglary in 1946. While in prison, Malcolm began a profound intellectual transformation. It was in prison that he encountered teachings of Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam, an organization that preached Black nationalism, self-reliance, and separation from white America. At first, Malcolm was skeptical of the nation's teachings, but he quickly became captivated by their emphasis on the pilgrimage to Mecca. By 1963, Malcolm X's relationship with the Nation of Islam had begun to sour. Tensions peaked after Malcolm made controversial remark about the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. He referred to Kennedy's death as chicken coming home to roost moment, a comment that caused public outcry and led to his suspension from the Nation of Islam. In 1964, at the height of tension between Malcolm and the nation, he made a transformative decision. He left the Nation of Islam and embarked on a journey of spiritual and intellectual growth. His journey took him to the Middle East, where he performed the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. The experience was life-changing. For the first time, Malcolm witnessed Muslims of all races, white, Black, brown, coming together in brotherhood. This experience opened his eyes to the potential for racial unity and changed his views on race and identity. Malcolm returned from his pilgrimage a changed man. His newfound understanding of Islam and his exposure to the global struggle for human rights led him to revise many of his previous positions. He began to speak about the need for unity among all people, regardless of race or ethnicity, in the fight against oppression. He also began to see the American civil rights struggle in a more global context, recognizing the connection between the struggles of Black Americans and the anti-colonial movements around the world. The end of the Nation of Islam and new beginnings. After leaving the Nation of Islam, Malcolm X founded his organization, the Muslim Mosque, which sought to bring together a practical struggle for civil rights. He also adopted a more inclusive stance on race, moving away from the separatism of the Nation of Islam and advocating for alliances with other oppressed groups. Malcolm's shift toward a more inclusive approach to civil rights and his willingness to build coalitions with other leaders including civil rights activists like Martin Luther King Jr., made him more complex and nuanced figure. His message began to transcend race, calling for solidarity with people of color around the world, including in Africa and Latin America. Malcolm X's speeches became more focused on the struggle against imperialism, poverty, and oppression in all its forms. However, as Malcolm's influence continued to grow, he became increasingly vulnerable to the forces that opposed his ideas. The Nation of Islam, still under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad, viewed Malcolm's departure as betrayal, and the group began to target him for assassination. Despite the growing threats to his life, Malcolm remained steadfast in his commitment to his vision of more just and equal world. Assassination and legacy. On February 21, 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated while speaking at the Audubon Ballroom in New York City. 3 gunmen rushed the stage and shot Malcolm multiple times. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, and his death sent shockwaves through the nation. The assassination of Malcolm X was a tragic end to a life that had been defined by transformation, struggle, a tireless fight for justice. Circumstances surrounding Malcolm's assassination remain controversial, and many believe that the Nation of Islam played a role in orchestrating his murder. However, his legacy endures far beyond his tragic death. Malcolm X's contributions to the civil rights movement are immeasurable. His emphasis on self-pride, self-defense, and black empowerment inspired generations of activists. His willingness to challenge both the white establishment and mainstream black leader made him an essential figure in the fight for racial justice. His global perspective on human rights, combined with his fearless advocacy for the marginalized, continues to resonate with activists today.
Now, before we proceed with this incredible knowledge, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the Legends Mysteries channel if you haven't already activated notifications so you don't miss any Legends Mysteries knowledge, because it can ultimately change your life. Thanks for watching.